Thanks for listening to our report on the risk management on loan default. And in this part, I will introduce our research purpose and our objectives in this problem statement to you. And the very first, that as we all know that nowadays, loan business is the main profitable business to banks. According to the content included in the Credit Card Global Market Report of 2022, only the credit card business market is expected to grow from 99.08 billion to 101.08 billion in 2022. And with the continuous expansion of bank credit scale, new credit also poses challenges to banks' risk management. In the past, banks have mainly used credit scores as a criterion for deciding whether to lend. Now, with the increasing number of new loan users, this traditional scoring standard may no longer be able to play the previous effect. Therefore, our team is going to use the machine learning techniques to solve the problem. And during this report, we have 4 objectives to achieve, which are also mutually causal. The first general goal is to clean and explore the user application record data through logic methods. Then grow a correct and reliable business understanding of each features. The second objective is about the technique, which is to build machine learning models to make predictions and adjust parameters of models to improve the accuracy. And after we achieve the above, we can find out the most suitable model, and at the last step, we will combine this with bank issue in reality. In order to make the report much more clear, we list these 3 problems we solved in this research, which is identifying key features of future defaults. And the second is build operational machine learning models. And the last, and it is also the most important, is that we need to apply these models in the real business. And the above is all information of my part. My teammates will introduce further to you.
Okay, for part 2, I will introduce the literature review and the background. So for risk management is a process of identifying, evaluating, and controlling threats to an organization's capital and earnings. And credit risk is usually considered to be the main risk for the bank. So this means that credit risk forecasting for loans is a core objective for banks. About machine learning helps machines learn regularities from existing complex data to predict future behavioral outcomes and trends. And it will replace the traditional judgment method. Why? Because of its high efficiency. In contrast, for past several years, commercial banks often relied on risk controllers to judge from customers' personal information when assessing credit risk. This is very inefficient in the face of large amount of data, so it might be a good choice for the bank to choose machine learning. There are 2 successful cases. For the first case, Zask Finance helped to improve Baidu's loan evaluation decisions in the Chinese market. By using some machine learning model, in just 2 months, Baidu's total small commodity loans increased by 150% with low increase in credit losses. For the second case, Visa predicted the distressed state of European banks. From this research, neural network is significantly better than other models, and their successful experiences can be a good reference for us. Therefore, there is no doubt that the application of machine learning and artificial intelligence at credit risk management is a clear trend for the future.
Now let's talk about the data. The data set we used is gathered from Tego, and it contains the info about the application's situation when they are making applications, and it also contains a binary target value called target. Now let's talk about data visualization. We can see that about 90% of people will not default, so recall rate is very important because it can find out who will default. And also the data is need to rebalance because it is imbalanced one. And when we look at the correlation of variables, we can find amount credit and amount good price a high positive correlation with a coefficient of 0.9. When we look at education, we can find although that the secondary education level tend to apply for a loan from banks, they have higher risk to default also. So we need to carefully decide whether or not to give loans based on the education levels because it has a very large difference between those from college and those from the secondary education levels. From the chart, we can see that we should not give loan to unemployed. And also, it's better decision for bank to lend their money to customers with income type as pensioner and state servant because they are very less likely to default. Now, let's talk about data cleaning. We cannot drop the rows with missing values because about 90% of the rows with missing values. So we have to deal with several ways. With those with few missing values, we just directly drop the row about 1%. And we use the mean method for a skewed distribution represent overall data for additive amount and amount of good price. And also we drop a column if the majority of values is missing or irrelevant to target variable.
We also use k-means method for name type suit. Because these attributes has about 30% of missing values and it is a categorical value, so it perform very good on k-means method. We use k equals 5 for the best performance. Also, we find that fuse with the missing values with Walter or Batman stuff is the best result.
After the discussion of data visualization and data cleaning processes given by Zhiyi and background information introduced by my teammates, I believe you now have a brief overview of our business case. It's time for me to introduce the exciting part, our model evaluation. As we could see from the table to the left, neural network and logistic regression both performs well with respect to all measurements. Hence, these are the top two candidates of our optimal model. However, from the perspective of banks, recall rate and precision appear to be the most important measurements that determines banks' profits. Recall rate determines the money banks could get back from the customers whom they lend their loans to, and precision indicates number of trustful customers which banks could lend loans to while expecting them to pay their loans back on time. However, considering to the nature of banks, recall rate is more important than precision because banks expect all their customers to pay back their loans on time to ensure their funds to flow smoothly. Hence, we want the model to produce higher recall rate as a prerequisite and precision as our second priority. Since neural network has higher recall rate than logistic regression while obtaining close precision, we decide to take neural network as our best model for this case. By ranking our top most impactful factors, we could see that days birth, occupation type, organization type, days employed, and name income type are the top 5 most impactful features for predicting our target variable. Since our model will be used all across the finance industry, it is inevitable that it needs to be updated and corrected. During the period which our model is inoperable, bank staffs could handle loan applications according to variable importance table above. Even though it might not be 100% correct, it'll help staffs to decide 70 to 80% of all the applications with no pressure at all. For those applications that are hard to decide, bank staffs can put them aside first and use our model to handle those applications when our model is updated. These conclude my part of the model evaluation. I'll pass to Yuanfei to continue on discussing business solutions and recommendations.
Thank you, Xuanfen. Finally, let's move to the fifth part, the business solutions and recommendations. In this section, we'll talk about the real-world significance of our project and how to evaluate and eventually develop it into an overall long-term risk management strategy for the company. First is how to deploy our new model. When introducing our new project, it's important to maintain the original work pattern. So here we design a new workflow for reference. The risk management now extract data from the application dataset and then make use of machine learning to assist one of the approval group. After more than one repayment cycle, we record enough KPIs such as approval efficiency and bad debt rate, and then we make use of these records for statistical tests to check the feasibility of model deployment. Our model is quite crucial for the future development of the company, which depends on two main aspects. First, the model improves the efficiency of manual review while maintaining accuracy, which will reduce human hours and improve our utilization of human resource. And further, our model correctly identifies more than 90% of future defaulters and guarantees a less than 4% probability of misjudging credible applications, which help us in increased profits in terms of both attracting customers and reducing bad debt. In short term, the company should immediately working on two things with the help of our project. The first is to focus on collecting and analyzing selected information based on our research on the importance of variables. And the second is the company should gradually deploy a risk management strategy for the rest of the business based on the loan model to achieve a joint defense against defaulters. Finally, our project will be developed in these ways in the future. For the model part, we'll try to combine external data source and advantages of various models to continue optimizing the accuracy. And for the risk management strategy, we'll introduce simplified user risk scorecards based on the existing variable importance studies. Because business people do not always understand the problems that arise from the models, and we need simpler and practical alternatives to maintain a stable loan approval business. Besides, we'll improve our risk management model from now on to reduce the workload of dealing with duplicate applicants between different businesses. Thank you all for listening, and we hope that our group's project will be helpful to the development of our country.